So just so you're clear, when we talk direct variation in the future, this is the equation that typically goes with it, y equals k times x. You have some constant of variation. This is not what we're going to be doing today, okay? Today we're going to be coming up with a proportion. If you think about the direct variation side of how this works, if I say, now that I scratched that out, if I just divide by x, okay, I'm left with my constant equals y over x. This is what we're going to be using, is that constant relationship. Okay, so if this varies directly with this, then when this varies directly with this, what's the missing piece? Okay, so you're going to be setting up a lot of proportions. K is getting you some constant of variation, but your proportion is always going to look like this. It's always going to be your y1. So you're still going to have an x1, y1 and an x2, y2. You're going to have 2 points essentially, but one of the pieces of those points is going to be missing. You have to figure out what's the missing piece. So it's going to be y1 varies directly with x1, and that should equal y2, which varies directly with x2. So the relationship between your y's and your x's is a constant, okay? That ratio is always equal. Therefore, you can set up a proportion, okay? So here's what the problems will look like. Example 1. It's going to say, suppose y varies directly with x. Y is 9 when x is negative 15. So what they're saying is the relationship between this y and x is the same for any y and x in this same problem. Okay, it's always the same relationship, therefore we can do a proportion. So the question will be, what is y when x equals 21? Yeah, proportions, cross multiplying, very basic. So here's how I want you to think of it, okay? This is going to be our y1, which means this is going to be our x1, okay? Which means what we're looking for is our y2 when this is our x2. And then this is the proportion you're going to use every single time. So y over x equals y over x. Just make sure that your 1's stay together and your 2's stay together. Okay, so if I'm going to set up this proportion right now, it's going to look like this. What's going to go in this first spot? That's your 9 over what? Negative 15. Okay, so it's y1 over x1, and then y2, which we don't know, we're just going to call that y, over x2, which is this 21 right here. Okay, now there's a couple ways you can do this. You can cross multiply it, or what is the other way you could do it right now? Multiply both sides by what? By 21. Okay, so you could do that. I feel like more mistakes get made with that because if it's flipped the other way, it doesn't work that way. So if you want to play it safe, just cross multiply every time. Okay? Which is what I will show you right now. So you have a negative 15 times y equals 21 times 9, which is 189. Okay, and then you're just going to divide by negative 15. So y comes out to a negative 12.6. That's really the gist of what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to do one more like that, and then you're going to have one word problem, and we're done. Any questions on that?
Is it going to get more complicated?
I mean, the word problems get a little more complicated because you kind of have to figure out what are your x and what are your y. But other than that, no. You're just setting up a proportion in every single problem today. All right, second example. let's say y varies directly with x. Y equals -4 when x equals 2.5. And the question is, what is x when y is 10? Okay, if it's helpful, label. Figure out what is your x1, y1, what is your x2, y2. If you need to write them in, okay? So if I call this y1, then what is this 2.5? It's your x1, right? So this is going to be x1. x2 is what we're solving for, and this would be your y2. Now, is it y over x or x over y? It's y over x. Now, technically, want to know a secret? It doesn't matter because you'll get the same answer with the proportion either way. But because they say y varies directly with x, it's y divided by x, okay? So you have -4 over what? 2.5. Y over x, so -4 over 2.5 equals what? 10 over x. Now here's where you can't just multiply both sides by 10, right? It doesn't work that way. You'd have to multiply by x and then divide by -4 over 2.5, which is ugly. So again, like I said, if you want to play it safe, cross multiply. So this is -4x, 2.5 times 10, so 25. And then you're just going to divide by -4. So x comes out to, that is 1. 25 divided by -4 is -6.25, or you can write -6.25. Do you know how you can check it? Plug it in here and divide. Divide this. Do they equal the same decimal? Okay. Any questions on that? X over y or y over x? Y over x. Just think slope, right? It's the same way the slope goes, y divided by x. Okay, last problem. This is the word problem. It says the number of calories, I want to abbreviate. We'll write it out. The number of calories varies directly with the mass of cheese. Okay. If 50 grams of cheese contains 200 calories, how many calories are in 70 grams of cheese? Okay, so you can figure out how many calories it would be for a different mass of cheese. Now what you have to figure out is what is your x and what is your y, which again, like I said, it really doesn't actually matter because you're setting up a proportion, so you're going to get the same value either way, but in the future, it will matter more. So we want to know. It says the number of calories varies directly with the mass. So which one is your y? The calories. Okay, so y is calories, x is mass. Okay, so if 50 grams is going to be an amount of cheese, right, a mass of cheese, is that an x or a y? That's an x. So if we call this x1, then what's y1? 200 calories. So this is going to be your y1. Okay. Is this 70 your x2 or your y2? x2. It's grams, right? So 50 grams was your x1, 70 grams is your x2. So we're solving for our y2, okay? So it's y1 over y2. Sorry, y1 over x1 equals y2 over x2. Although, if you did it that way, you'd still get the right answer then, too. It's kind of messed up when you can do things totally wrong and still get the right answer, right? But sometimes you just luck out like that in math. Okay, so if this is our setup, what over what equals what over what?
200 over 50 equals x over 7.
Yes, 200 over 50 equals x, sorry, that's going to confuse you. Let's just call it y, so I don't confuse you. Y2, your y, over 70, right? Then cross multiply it. So 50y equals 14,000. Divide by 50. Kind of looks like the word soy instead of 50, huh? Sorry. So y comes out to 280. And we were talking calories. Make sure you label it so you know what we're talking about, right? 280 calories is a lot different than 280 grams of cheese. So just make sure you label. Questions? Are we comfortable with proportions? I feel like you've done a lot with proportions in the past. Hopefully this feels a little bit easy to you.